Good morning, my dear. I do hope that your time here has been very well. I will not deny that was possibly deserved. But still, that is no way to reach your lord when he is on his way to his bedchambers. I do not snore, my dear. I don't even breathe. Clearly you are hearing something else. Perhaps the feral werewolves running outside the outskirts of the islands, perhaps. Come, sit with me, my dear. I understand why you are upset. I will admit the speed of my responses to your request has been lacking, unfortunately. You see, I am not used to having a guest who does not have a small ensemble of thralls or ghouls to do their bidding. I rarely need to tend to my guests at all, besides providing healthy offerings of meals and quarters unto themselves. But for now, you are fully human, and I must try to improve upon my manners. No, I suppose you have nothing that proves my words as true. I will have to give you action to reinforce them, my dear, but until then, I will simply ask you to trust me, as I have done since I let you stay here. I have not yet broken my word since you joined me, albeit perhaps not quite up to the standard I set for myself. So, would you like me to prepare you some breakfast on this fine morning? Yes, I did say I was on my way to rest, but I would like to reinforce my promise that I will do everything in my power to aid you as best I can. And besides, I can smell your enchanted blood and the low blood sugar from here. Come, I will. Goodness me. I will prepare you a simple, filling meal before I rest and prepare for my nightly duties. Your enchanted blood. Yes, I suppose I can explain, given we are only a few days from the ritual, and the castle is nearly all but devoid of life, both living and undead alike. In rare moments, both of our species passed, of course. You see, humans would drink the concentrated blood of ancient vampires, quite literally consuming their essence for the benefits of a vampire lord, and avoiding the largest part of negative sides of being undead, such as a weakness to light or silver. Obviously, a stake to the heart or a silver weapon through the spine would still end their existence as much as anyone else, but that would also, excuse me, my dear, would also work on any other mortal, as far as I'm aware. These living vampires, blood champions we came to call them, would lead our race to new lands, conquering and claiming whatever power that their newfound abilities would allow them, with, of course, what limited time they had. You see, as a living vampire, their bodies would still function as humans would, simply stronger, faster, and needing, of course, blood to continue existing. In time, though, as with all things, even their eventual existence came to an end. You see, my dear, these champions of the ancient blood were not eager to simply let themselves fade into time's endless expanse. So, they made a point to produce an heir that would carry their bloodline forward, and eventually pick up the conquest where they left off. As usual, court politics made this a bloody affair, and the heirs don't always rise to their proper place among us, leaving centuries where only true-blooded vampires participate in our nightly games of politics. But you, my dear, my sweet, beautiful guest, you are one of those heirs. Your blood, potent and pure, traces back to one of the strongest, most infamous blood champions of our entire history. I won't bother you with their name, it wouldn't mean anything to you anyway. there would be no record of them in human history or human family trees. But I have done my research, and your blood is exactly what I am looking for, featuring all the potencies of a vampire without the taint of another pure-blooded vampire's bite. To preserve your legacy, my dear, we need to keep you pure, unpolluted. That's why other courts have not picked you up off your front step in the middle of the night, and why the roaming werewolves knew to avoid your villa, even your entire state for that matter, or of course risk my wrath falling down upon them. I have had a vampire knights and scouting parties shadowing you for months, guarding you and ensuring your safety in every way possible without invading your personal life or affairs. Not that I consider your life of farming and crafting to be particularly interesting, but I do not need to know your personal delights for this machination to succeed. Well, what does it have to do with me? Well, my dear, if I am going to make any sense of this for you, then I suppose I must share my own history. You see, my dear, the great Lord Tornthar before you, third of his line and current ruler of the Blood Forest Islands, is also an heir of a blood champion. Where your blood stretches back to our most ancient history, my grandfather was one of the champions before he and his mortal wife had my progenitor, and were then promptly assassinated. We believe the same court members now seek to end my rule, to prevent the champion bloodline from gaining power again so soon, which is where you come in. You see, every blood champion married a mortal lover, a mortal partner, in order to produce their child, since it is impossible for a vampire to give birth, as I'm sure you are well aware. They have never tried to pass their bloodline on by means of turning or trading blood with another vampire. The ritual I have been slowly preparing over the past few weeks will change that, change us. By combining the properties in our blood of both human and vampire strengths, we can elevate ourselves to the point of blood champions and maintain a rule that can't be undermined by pathetic, petty politics. Do you need to become my lover for this to work? No, not as far as I'm aware, my dear. The ritual that will help us ascend into blood champions is a matter of magic and blood, and not one of romance. That is a whole nother school of magic, one I have never had a desire to get involved with. Besides, beyond purely political matters, you are free to establish your own court once these matters are settled. Though I must inform you, as we will be the only two living blood champions of our era, many will try to sway us to their cause for political gain. But remember, it is only to further their own ends. We will be above the pathetic games of both humans and vampires alike, leaving us more free than any creature currently walking this planet. You can't tell me such a future doesn't interest you even slightly. No more farming for every meal, tending to beasts and children. Yes, a diet of blood will be required, but when you awaken as a living vampire, a creature, a deity of the night, the prospect will not be as unsettling as it sounds. You have my word on that, my dear. I see you are enjoying your food. No, go on. Pardon me, my dear. Eat. It is what this entire trip to the kitchen was for, after all, besides the little history lesson that I was not quite prepared to give. I will need to retire soon, though, as any longer, and I risk the sun damaging me to the point where I am unable to perform my duties. Both your eyes' needs, for that matter. That is a delay I simply cannot afford, nor can you, since the longer you reside here, the higher the risks are of your presence becoming discovered. My dear, I would simply not like to imagine such a possibility. But should something happen, rest assured I will do everything in my power to return us on to the proper paths, the ones our ancestors set us upon so many decades ago. I will do anything I must. The other courts tolerate my presence as Lord, but they are clearly not on my side. So I will not mourn them if I must dispose of whoever tries to possibly stop me. Stop us, my dear. It is our destiny, after all. Are you satisfied? Good, I'm glad. I have been working on my culinary skills while you rest every night. Come, I shall escort you back to your quarters and take my leave. I highly request you do not risk someone seeing you out and about while I'm resting. The servants and other lords are out as of right now, but it is possible anyone could show up at any time. That is simply a matter that must be accommodated for. But if you absolutely need something, you may wake me from my coffin in the next room. A simple knock on the lid will do. We are not heavy sleepers. And, my dear, before you go, you have my word that I will do my best to assist you, both in this life and in the one that we shall both rise to. I have thralls scheduled to prepare your meals while I'm resting, so please, my dear, try to prepare yourself mentally. The ritual will be soon together. We will reimagine this world.